Hi guys, Darth here back with another video. Today, gonna be taking a look at something kind of different. Another Transformers video. Gonna be taking a look at the Transformers Cybertron Leader Class Optimus Prime from 2005 for the Transformers Cybertron show. This is a figure I picked up on eBay maybe a month or so ago. I pulled the trigger on it finally. This is kind of like a grail figure for me. I always wanted this guy way back, even when he originally came out. I never got him. Not really sure why. I feel like I just never really pushed my parents to get him for me, I guess, for like Christmas or anything like that. So I just never got him. But I have him now. Unfortunately, I had to shell out for him. This figure has gotten very expensive over the last few years because I don't know. Maybe just people underrated how good this figure is. It's a really fun Optimus. I think it is definitely one of the best Optimus Prime toys out there. Is it the best? That comes down to your personal preferences and what you value in your figures and all that jazz. But this is definitely one of the coolest at any rate. And we are, of course, going to compare him with the Siege Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime. That is a modern figure on this design. I would say it's more of an homage figure than a whole, like a new version. It is they've used this mold quite a bit. Ultra Magnus used this mold. This guy uses it. The Kingdom Ultra Magnus is a retool. And then we recently got the Nova Prime, IDW Nova Prime, using this mold as well. So the Hasbro's gotten a lot of mileage out of this one. They both do things well, and they both do things not so well. But yeah, just right off the bat, you have them in truck mode, and you can tell that the old one is a lot bigger, and you'll see that in both modes. It's longer, he's larger, he's heftier. That's one of the cool things about this figure, is just the presence that this old toy has. Is just large, bulky, beefy, weighty in your hands. Just has so much presence, which is really cool. The old ones, or the new one, which I say new, he's like a almost 5-year-old figure now. But and excuse, he's a bit dusty. I didn't even realize. This one's fine, but I don't know. The alternate, this truck mode kind of feels a little bit like an afterthought to a certain extent. There's a lot of faux parts going on with this figure that you'll see more in robot mode, but a lot of the pieces that you would think, there's a lot of fake parts to just try to recreate the robot mode of the original character. But still a cool figure. He does have the cannons, and he does have the side cannons as well, but you can only just plug those in. Whereas on this guy, moving the cannons up here, they are actually movable parts. You can actually flip these guns out if you want, which I think is cool. And he's got those giant cannons. I always kind of find this design, alternate mode design for Optimus, kind of funny. It's really cool. He's this giant red truck that has these huge cannons, but he's, I think, supposed to be a fire truck. And he's just had these huge cannons. Last time I checked, fire trucks didn't have huge cannons on them, but you know, maybe I'm just not up to date with the latest technology that the fire departments are using these days. But yeah, this truck mode's super cool. He has these cannons here, like I said, lots of nice paint apps going on. This is specifically the Galaxy Convoy version of the Cybertron Optimus Prime. There's a few different versions. There's obviously the standard version that's blue, red, and gray. This one's actually red, black, and gray. So that's kind of cool. I got this one because I had this guy in the original colors already, so I kind of wanted something different. And he's also kind of the only one that was available that was mostly complete for a reasonable price. The only thing this figure is missing was just one of the 3 missiles, which is fine. I don't need it. But it's actually pretty tough to find these guys complete on Amazon, or not Amazon, sorry, on eBay. And even if you do find it complete or almost complete, they're really expensive. I'm not gonna lie to you, really expensive toy. But yeah, I just love the bulkiness here. The truck cab looks super cool. I think the new one did a pretty good job of recreating that truck cab at the very least. It's pretty close. The alternate mode on the new one's a bit jankier though. This one, it's pretty solid. It is one thing that's a little weird though, these little bits here on the side, they don't clip in. They just kind of sit there. And for the most part, they stay in position well enough. But yeah, they do kind of like to hinge out a little bit. Not a big deal. Gimmick wise, we saw the little cannons there already. You can fire the missile on the end of the gun here if you put one in. Like I said, I'm missing the third missile, but I could use one of the missiles on the other launchers if I wanted to. Speaking of which, though, it does come with this Cyberplanet key. This one's super cool. It kind of looks like the Matrix with these handles on the side. That's kind of cool. And then the like holographic foil Autobot symbol looks really nice. And he has 2 slots. So on this side you can, let me flip it around so you can actually see. On this side you can insert the Cyberplanet key, and it will pop out these 2 missile launchers on the sides, giving them this already large cannon even more firepower. So that's cool, little feature. And then on this side, well, first off, there is a button on the inside here, and it makes a little shooting noise, and you got a light up end of the barrel there, like kind of like a machine gun sound. That's cool. But if you plug in the Cyberplanet key, you open up the cannon's little flaps here. I don't know what to call that. You get a little noise when you do it, and then this back just detached. But then if you press the button, which I have to find again, it'll make a different noise, a bit more of a charged up shot. So I think that's super cool. His back just came off, but yeah, so pretty cool. The truck does have another mode. You can put it in flight mode, because that is something that he did in the show, I do believe. Just flipping the guns back, and you just kind of fold out and rotate like so. Like so. Straighten out the guns. And this is not okay. This doesn't clip in the most secure, I'll be honest. There we go. That might be a bit better now. And slot that back on. There we go. I didn't have it attached correctly. It does stay on securely once you actually connect it correctly. But yeah, then you have him in flight mode. He's got the wings. He's got the guns on the side there. You can still flip the guns out if you want. It's a fun mode. It's something I'm pretty sure he did do in the show. It's been a while since I watched it. One thing I will say, though, is that it's either, because I got this used, of course, either due to age or just due to a poor design. These hinges are pretty loose. They're just friction joints. So they don't really like, if you get them up, you can kind of get them to stay up like that, but they do like to just flop down. It's a little unfortunate, but luckily I don't intend to display him in his flight mode, so we're good on that one. So just gonna straighten this back out. And yeah, the guns themselves, you can like turn them and put them up and all that jazz. The new one unfortunately does not have the flight mode option, which is a little unfortunate. But you can still rotate the guns on this one as well. So yeah, I guess we can get on to other modes. So let's detach this stuff. So I'm not going to show it because I don't know how to do it, and I don't really care that much. The back part, the backpack part and everything can actually be configured into like a gun turret station that the small version of Optimus can like man, I guess. It's a little play feature you can do. I'm not sure. Can't remember how that's supposed to be configured. I didn't bother to look it up because I don't think it's that important, because I doubt anyone's going to actually use it, but it is another little gimmick you can do with this figure. You can see without the back portion, it's kind of an odd looking truck. He's got a huge long back to him. His feet are just kind of standing straight up. They don't fold in or anything like that, which is a bit odd. Yeah, you'll find a lot of this figure listed on eBay, just at this portion of the figure and none of the extra parts. It's a fairly common thing to see. But yeah, let's transform him. He's pretty simple. Just like fold down the legs like so, and just detach them, spread them apart if you want. And then kind of an interesting little gimmick or feature here is like these bits, they kind of pull out just a bit so you can work them around and then fold them back. It's kind of an interesting thing. I haven't really seen that before on a figure. You fold those back, and then you've got his normal legs. Just fold down his waist piece there. I don't believe it clips in really, no. And then you just pull out the arms here, fold over the chest bit. Let me raise this so you can see them. Then you fold, kind of pull out the shoulders, fold out the arms, and just clip them in. And then there's a little lever on the back just to slide out his head. And then there you have just the standard version of Optimus without non-super mode. And it's pretty cool. I like how this version of Optimus, when he was in super mode, you actually could see his mouth. The Bay movies were not the first ones to do that. Cybertron Optimus, I don't know if Cybertron Optimus is the first one to do it either. If you count Optimus Primal as Optimus, he definitely isn't. But yeah, it's pretty cool design. I like the head. It looks cool. Instead of on the standard Cybertron Optimus, he has the Autobot logos on his shoulders, but here he actually has the different symbols for the different planets for the Cyberplanet keys. You got the Beast planet. I think that might be Earth. I'm not actually sure though. That's Velocitron, I think, and I do not know which one this one is. It's been a while. But it's a nice looking robot mode. It doesn't really have any like kibble, I guess. They designed these toys, you know, the show. They did a pretty good job making them from the show to the toys. I mean, the show was probably just a big commercial for the toys. So one thing I will say though is they definitely prioritize the super mode for this figure because the proportions in the normal mode, they're a little weird. He's got this giant torso, huge shoulders and arms, and then the legs and the feet are kind of small in comparison. So he's kind of got these small legs but giant upper body. It's not terrible looking, but it's worth mentioning. You can take the end of the gun here off of there, and you have just the normal handheld gun. Like I said, if you put in a missile, it can fire a missile, but you can actually open his hand here. It's got a little peg. You can just port it in, close his hand, and then you have Optimus with the gun. So that's a fun little feature. Another feature you have, well, in either mode, you can do it in super or standard mode. You can actually open up his chest like so, fold down this bit, and then you actually have a removable matrix in there. I feel like he's the only one out of the three Unicron Trilogy Optimuses to have this feature. I don't have the Energon figure yet. I'd like to get him. He's the only one I'm missing. But the Armada figure, the Deluxe straight up didn't have any sort of matrix, and then the larger one, I can't remember what they called that class, maybe Supreme or something, I don't know. He had a molded feature, but he didn't actually have a removable matrix. It was just a sculpted feature. This is removable. It's kind of tricky to do, and I don't really have it. Oh, there we go. You can take it out, and I think that it's pretty standard. It's just gray and then a little bit of orange paint for the middle there. It's cool. He can technically hold it. You can put it through his thumb there and close his hand. He can hold it, but you can't really have him holding it with two hands like in the opening pose because he just doesn't have the articulation for it. But it's a cool feature nonetheless. Although this is an accessory you'll often find missing, but there's a lot of really great detail there, and it is hard to tell, but right at the bottom there is actually his spark chamber. Or at least I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a spark chamber. So that's a really cool little detail. Lots of really nice little details in this figure. But I'm just gonna put the thing back there. I like how this little piece that rotates up, and then I like how these chest bits slide open in and out. I think that's a really nice, really very cool. In terms of articulation in this mode, he just has a rotation at the neck. The shoulders rotate. They do go up in and out, but because these shoulder pads are so huge and don't really get out of the way, they don't go in and out that much. They are on very loud and heavy ratchets, as you can tell. You can rotate the arms just above the elbow. You can bend the elbows a decent amount, and he does have opening and closing hands, as you've already seen. There's no waist articulation because of the way the figure is engineered. You can move the legs up, and if you want to get them to go further, you can kick up his waist bit there. They go out pretty far. got ratchets to go in, up and down. These will move out of the way a bit. Rotation there above the knee, then single hinges at the knee that go 90. And then there's not really any foot articulation, like it technically bends down. That's more for the super mode transformation than anything else. But he's got okay articulation. It's nothing too crazy. But it's not terrible either. I've seen way worse. Almost the entire line of Armada. But yeah, that's the small mode for the old figure that I think is decent. But taking the new figure, just taking the parts off here, I'll show off the small mode for him. Put this over here for now. This transformation is pretty simple. So this is what the cab looks like without the trailer thing on, which I think is a better proportion truck, but still like isn't the best looking. His arms are literally just hanging right off the back, and the legs are pretty obviously legs. So they both kind of have compromises to incorporate their super mode gimmicks. They just fold down the legs there. Pull those out, rotate that, push the torso in. It's been a while since I've done this. Open that up, flip the head out, close it back up, peg those down. And here you have, oh, his heels. I gotta flip his heels out. Take these bits off, those will come into the super mode. And here we have the small bot version of the new figure. And I think this is supposed to be the other way, maybe. And yeah, pretty cool. There's definitely some similarities. Their waist pieces are definitely made to look similar. But not a whole lot else, honestly. It's definitely kind of like an amalgamation of G1 and the Cybertron look. His head is definitely way more G1 Optimus. It's basically is G1 Optimus just with some extra details on it. Proportions are also kind of odd on this figure. He's kind of got a large torso, but then more standard looking legs and arms. Although it's definitely a more better proportion than this figure. He also does have some junk in the trunk. He's just got this big chunk of plastic that's just kind of hanging there that they just, I guess, didn't know what to do with. Although a fun little fact is, for whatever reason, IDW used this design for their Orion Pax Optimus design in their second run of Transformers continuity comics, which I think is kind of interesting. Yeah, it's cool. You can do the same thing like you can with the old figure. You can take the end of the gun from the larger cannon. You can give him just the handheld gun. I do think this one looks a little cooler, but they can do that. And unlike the original figure, if you want to, you can take the side guns here. You can give them those to hold as well if you'd like to do that. But like I said, you can see the size difference. The old one is huge compared to the new one, both in height and in just proportions. And another thing that the new one does have over the old one is articulation's a lot better. He doesn't have a ball joint at the neck, rotation, and unhindered hinge joints outwards to the shoulders, rotation, an elbow bend, wrist swivels, a waist swivel, hip joints that move in, out, rotation there. Single hinge is actually about the same, if not a little worse than the original figure. It's kind of funny. And then ankle pivots. So yeah, the new one is definitely more articulated, but they're both cool. So now I guess there's not too much else to say about these modes. Let's get the new one, or the old one, sorry, into super mode. So it's pretty easy. These figures were never overly complicated for the most part. I guess first we'll take these bits here that were on the truck, and then just fold these guns in, and then we take the figure here and we take these bits and you actually flip them around and then plug that in and then fold the foot down to give him his larger looking feet. So there we got that. And then you go here with these bits and you actually plug those onto the back. Give him his leg cannons. It really bulks out the legs quite a bit, but they're so big, which is good that they're very big because it makes it so he's stable and won't want to fall over. I guess right now if you wanted to as well, you can change his head. So this is gonna start being a little hard to do on camera. But he has a little lever here on the back of his head, and if you pull that out, it'll actually fold up the battle mask, which is a super fun little feature. And you can flip out the fins. Mine are quite loose. I assume that's just due to age. But you flip those out, and they'll do that. And then for the backpack, you just fold out these out, rotate them around like so. They are supposed to be ratcheted, but I assume due to age, this one's ratchets are busted out. It's not a big deal though. Unplug these and just open up these little brackets. Yeah, we can just keep the guns folded outwards for now. And then over here, there are like some grooves you'll see that kind of line up. You basically just slide the backpack on, flip down these straps, and then just move the arms out of the way, and just fold the guns around. And just position the wings the way you want them. And then there you have the super mode, which I think looks absolutely awesome. It's big and looks incredible and has a very nice, awesome shelf presence among your other figures in your collection. I definitely think this is one of the coolest alternate looks outside of G1 for Optimus Prime. He just looks like he's ready to go to war, man. He's got these giant underslung cannons. He's got the big wings that fly around. If you want to give him even more firepower, you can flip these leg guns out, and then he's got even more guns on the go. And you got all the same gimmicks that you had in the vehicle mode. You can fire the missiles, you can deploy the extra missile launchers, you can open up the big cannon if you want. Very cool. He does have all the same articulation as the core figure has. It's just going to be a bit more hindered than with all the extra stuff on, so he's going to be even more limited. You can definitely pose him around a little bit, but you're not going to be getting anything too crazy. One thing is that the cannons don't have any actual handles for his use in robot mode. So you kind of just position the arms and the cannons to make it look like he's holding them, but he's actually not. I kind of wish they would have had maybe some flip out handles or something just to make it look a little more practical looking, like how he probably would actually do it. But the cannons, luckily, are relatively secure. The joints there are relatively secure, so they don't really go anywhere, so you can pose them how you want, which is nice. But yeah, looks incredible, man. Like, you really can't appreciate it fully until you have this figure in hand. I can say that from personal experience. I knew he was going to be really awesome, but I never fully appreciated it until I actually got him. But moving him off to the side, we will take the new one now. Again, new one, not really that new anymore. But first off, how we want to start this? I guess we will just take these little bits we took off the front bumpers there. You just flip these bits out, and then these do just port on his arms. Actually, something that you don't do on the old figure. He already had these bits on his arms. So put those out like that. These leg bits that you take off the back of the trailer, open these up. He is actually holding these shoulder pads here. Then you just simply just clip on, if you have to fold in the heels, and then just put the feet on. And if you have any of this mold, you already know what it's all about. Take this bit, flip that around. Or I guess you don't have to, you can do whatever you want. You do have to actually fold the head in though, so we're gonna do that. He does not have any sliding battle mass gimmick or anything like that, unfortunately. Shoulder pads. This is one of the instances of faux parts. Obviously, these are not the actual cab of the truck. They are just pieces you put on them, which is a little unfortunate, but you know, not a big deal. I'm not the biggest complainer of faux parts, but they just plug onto the top of the shoulders. They go on nice and securely, like so. You can take the guns here, the black ones, and you can just port those on the side to recreate the guns on the side there. You can have them hold them too if you want. It's up to you. And then you take this mess of the back here. Move them out of the way. Jeez, that's plugged in a lot tighter. That unplugs. Everything basically just folds out. Rotate the head here. Fold out the chest, as you can see. It's another faux chest. You can see the wings as well. These wheels don't rotate or anything like that. These are definitely faux wheels, just so they could get the look without having to change the engineering. I'm gonna actually flip the cannons up for now. And then you just clip that onto his back, and I'm doing it not correctly. There we go, and then you just clip in his chest here. Oh, no wonder it's not working. Like so. And then you have the new Galaxy upgrade, Optimus Prime, in his road mode. And I also really like this figure a lot too. It's not as grand. The wings aren't as large. The figure itself just isn't as large, you can tell. But there are some things I like about this figure. I like all the sculpted detail and the painted detail. I really like the head sculpt on this one. It's a bit more tightened up. It looks a bit more aggressive looking. I really like it a lot. It looks great. So that's really cool. Hold those down. He's got still has the cannons. They're like hollow pieces and they don't have lights and sounds, but you can actually flip them up just out of the way if you want. I'm actually not sure if you can do that on the old figure. I mean, you probably can if you really wanted to. You did this and did that. You can okay, yeah, you can do it on the old figure too, but it makes them really back heavy, so not sure if I'd recommend doing that. But one thing I do like on the new figure is that he does actually have those handles I was mentioning that I wish the old figure had on the cannons, and you can actually get him actually holding them. So I really like that. He also has all the portholes, the 5mm portholes that pretty much all Transformers have at this day and age, so you can use effect parts with this figure, which is really nice. And yeah, he basically retains all of the articulation that the core figure did, maybe slightly hindered, but really not that much. And he looks really awesome. And I really like this figure as well. They're both really good. They both do things differently, honestly. You can see the size difference. This is what Leader Class used to be and what Leader Class is now. Yeah, it's something to see for sure, especially if you're new to collecting Transformers. But yeah, both really awesome figures. Like I said, they do things, both do things well. The old figure, I think, is the better toy. It's big, bulky, hefty. It's got serviceable articulation, but really has some nice gimmicks that don't compromise the figure too much, with the removable matrix, the flip-up mask, the removable gun, the missiles, the lights and sounds, all that sort of thing, the different modes you can do, make this really fun figure. Yeah, he suffers a bit with articulation, but I think the engineer got the balance okay, especially considering the time period. This figure came out in 2005, so we gotta keep that in mind as well. So I think the articulation is pretty good for the time. But the new figure, I think, has some really cool things going for it. I think it has some cool design stuff going on, like the head sculpt. I do prefer this over the old one. think this head sculpt looks awesome. This guy has a ton of sculpted detail. In some areas, some nicer paint, and definitely has improved articulation if you value articulation on your Transformers figures. You know, they're both great. I'm very happy to own both. I think even the Siege one isn't super cheap now these days. Um, so if you're considering, if you don't own any of them and you're trying to decide which one you want to get, one or the other, it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. This figure is a piece of Transformers collecting history. It's a lot funner, I think, in terms of gimmicks. It's a lot grander looking on the shelf. So if that's something you're looking for a Cybertron Optimus, I would look into getting this one, although it's very expensive, so keep that in mind. But if you're looking for a figure that's a bit better articulated and will scale more with your current Chug figures, this one is definitely a good one to go with as well. So yeah, it kind of just comes down to what you're looking for. But either way, it's an awesome design for Optimus Prime, one of my absolute favorite designs, and it makes for a very awesome figure either way. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I think that's pretty much all I gotta say. I have rambled on about these figures long enough. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Which one do you prefer out of the two? And I'll see you all in the next one.